Hello and welcome to today's video. So this is a really fun one. I have realised that the Goodreads Choice Awards are out. I went on Instagram and I'm really happy that I did do it the Instagram way, because I normally always have Goodreads open on my laptop and I feel like I would have been spoilt for some stuff if I just spotted it on there. But yeah, saw it on Instagram that the Choice Awards are out, and I went on Goodreads on my phone and I checked, and a little tab to click on is there. So yeah, I do know it's out. Jay has set up his computer for me so that I can screen record, and I thought it'd be really fun to kind of like react to the Goodreads Choice Awards. I was not prepared for this, honestly. I didn't expect them to come out till tonight. I expected like another, I don't know, like 6, 7, 8 hours until they'd actually be out, but they're out now, so let's do this thing. Jay has told me how to screen record on his computer, so that is what I'm going to try and do. Enter. Okay, so we should never be screen recording, we should never be good. Jay has purposely set this page up so that the Goodreads wasn't already open, because pretty sure there's a banner at the top saying a lot of things. So yeah, let's go over to Goodreads and we're just going to start this. I really don't know what I'm going to say. If you've never been here before and you somehow on this video, I read mainly fantasy sci-fi with a little bit of other genres here, there and everywhere. I'm expecting to have read the majority, more than half of the fantasy section, to be honest. Like, I've read a lot of fantasy this year, and maybe 1 or 2 of the other sections, but like not all of them. So yeah, let's go over to Goodreads now. Okay, yeah, here we are, Goodreads. So let's click here. Okay, so I'm already seeing some things. We're already seeing a few things. I'm also seeing that there's a romantasy section, which is actually really cool. Like, I'm really glad that they've added that in. So yeah, let's talk about the section first. So we've got fiction, historical fiction, mystery thriller, romantasy. That is definitely new. Like, they haven't had that before. Fantasy, science fiction, horror, young adult fantasy, young adult fiction, debut novel, non-fiction, memoir and autobiography, history and biography. I'm not sure if that's what it's always been called or if it's been slightly changed, and humour, which they've already had. So it does look like they've added in that romantasy, which is really cool. I'm really impressed with that. Like, honestly, a little bit shocked, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's just go to the fiction section first. So I'm not seeing loads here. Like, I haven't read any of the ones here. I do own Yellowface. I've heard of Burnham Wood. I've heard of Big Swiss. I've definitely seen the cover for Hello Beautiful before. I've heard of Alice Hoffman. I'm pretty sure that's the same author as the Practical Magic series. I knew that Anne Patchett was like a big like author, like one to watch this year, but I don't personally know anything about them. I've just heard other people say that. I've definitely seen the cover of The Shark Heart. I've definitely seen the cover of The Wishing Game. I'm pretty sure that was a Book of the Month selection. Jojo Moyes is like a big author, like a well-known author, and I've definitely seen the covers for Evil Eye and Mayhem. I've not read any of these. There's a small chance I'll get to Yellowface before the end of the year, but I'm not going to end up voting in this round because I've not read any of them or know anything about any of them. So let's go historical fiction. I highly doubt I've read any in here as well. So yeah, let's have a quick look. We've not read any of them. I've read 2 or 3 historical fictions this year, but none of them I don't think have been 2023 releases, and I've really realised it's just not a genre for me. It needs to have like major fantasy in it for me to really enjoy it. Or at least that's what I think so far. It's always time for that to change. But yeah, I honestly don't recognise any of these first 8. Let's go to the bottom 8. Okay, Wayward I've heard of. So I guess I should be saying, if I had to guess on the first page, I would guess that Yellowface is going to win for the fiction section. And the only one that I've heard of and heard loads of talk about on this page, on the historical fiction, is Wayward. So if I had to guess, I would guess that one would win. The others I just truly have not heard of. So yeah, mystery thriller, time to go. I've probably read a couple of these, I reckon. I've read none of these. I am definitely going to read Richard Osman's Last Devil to Die. This is the 4th book in the Thursday Murder Club. I'm going to be reading that before the end of the year. There's potential I'm going to read it soon, but yeah, I haven't read that yet. I've also realised, just ignore that blanket there. I've been sorting out Christmas presents, but obviously I didn't want them to be visible, so I just shoved a blanket over the chair I'm sorting them out on. But yeah, so I definitely plan on reading The Last Devil to Die. I love the Thursday Murder Club. Honestly, I'll probably read that and vote for it. It's absolutely amazing. Well, hopefully the 4th one's as amazing as the others. The other one's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. I have actually had it from the library a couple of times and just haven't had the time to get to it. And then ones that I really know of, The Housemaid's Secret is a sequel book. I'm pretty sure The Housemaid won or came top 3 or something last year. The Villa I've heard of. Riley Sager, The Only One Left, I've heard good and bad things about. Alice Feeney is a big author, but I haven't heard anything specifically about that book. Yeah, and then I feel like I've heard quite a bit. I Have Some Questions For You and Happiness Falls, but I know nothing actually about them. And then obviously Lisa Jewell is also a big author I haven't read. Honestly, I will definitely be reading The Last Devil to Die, and I will potentially read Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. It just depends on the library loan for that one. I've read other books by the author and I'm not confident enough to like buy it that I'm gonna love it, so I'm just, yeah, holding out in the library. But yeah, I would like to think The Last Devil to Die would win. Like, the 30 Murder Clubs have, I think, been slowly getting higher and higher in this one. But this is one I truly don't know, because I feel like I know the mystery side of this, but not the thriller side of this. So I'm gonna hopefully say The Last Devil to Die, but I think it's probably actually more likely that someone like Riley Sager or Alice Feeney will win. Okay, romance. I don't think I'd have read any of these. I've heard of Pucking Around. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's had all the like hockey TikTok controversy, I think. Haven't heard of that one. Haven't heard of that one. I've heard of Christina Lauren, but I don't know the book. I've heard of Anna Huang, but I couldn't tell you anything about specific books. I know there was a lot of anticipation about this series, what is this series called? Knock 'em Out. And I've also, oh, scroll too far. I've heard a lot about this series. I know that this one's been going round. I think this might be a different cover to what I've been seeing, but I think this series has been really big as well. This was really anticipated. This is a sequel to Icebreaker, which I haven't read, but is one of the few that I feel like I could enjoy. And obviously I've heard of Yours Truly, Happy Place, 7 Year Slip, Love Theoretically. I truly don't know what could win. I think it depends on who's voting. I don't know who's most likely to vote in this. I feel like the big names like Christina Lauren, Ali Hazelwood, Emily Henry probably have the most chance of winning, but I feel like there has been a lot more hype this year around releases like Wildfire, Powerless, Final Offer. I think those are like the 3 biggest ones I know of, but I think it depends on who's voting. Like, I think there's been a lot of hype in the book to net space about those ones, but I don't know if that's going to be the majority of people voting. I won't be voting in this category. I don't know enough about it. Over to Romantasy. I'm thinking I've probably read quite a few of these. Maybe not. Maybe. Oh no. Okay, I need to be checking this properly. In previous years, it's told you very obviously near the vote button if you've read it or not, and obviously doing that. I haven't read The Hanging City. I haven't read Throne of the Fallen because I've still got the 3rd book in the previous trilogy to read. I haven't read A Game of Gods. Actually, I haven't heard of that one. So that's interesting. When did that come out? just says 2023 in that section. I want to read A Fire in the Flesh. That is the next book in this like combined world series that I do need to read, but I read them via audio, and I've actually had to start like an Audible trial to read these because they're not on script yet. The first few books of both series are on script, but the latest 2 to come out this year are not, so I've actually had to start a free trial, and I can't read that one until next month because I read the latest book in the other series this month because that's a reading order. But I will probably, does it tell me easily on this page when the, no, it doesn't tell me the dates easily on this page. I'm going to quickly check Instagram because I know it had the dates for the rounds on there. Here we go. We've got till the 26th of November to vote in the opening round. I feel like the chance of me reading it by then is actually quite low. But the final round you've got till the 3rd of December, and I'm pretty sure that my credit will be on December 2nd or 3rd, something like that, so I might have read it by then. Pot Cooking I haven't read and I haven't heard the best things about. I'm actually quite shocked to see it here. Fourth Wing obviously everyone's heard of. I didn't like it, I enjoyed it, but even from what we've seen so far, like, even though I haven't read any of them, I don't think it'll be the best. Assistant to the Villain, again, I haven't heard great things of. I've heard it's blown up on TikTok, but that it's not the best. The Coven I enjoyed, but it's part of a duology, and even though I've got the duology, like the second part, currently sat on my Kindle, I haven't picked it up, so yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of this one, Bewitched. I read, oh, okay, this could be, out of the ones I've seen so far, this could be the one I'm voting for. The Ashes of the Star-Cursed King is the second book in the Cranes of Nyaxia series, and it's great. I really enjoyed this series. It's kind of one of the books that could become a favourite of the year sort of thing, so yeah, it's definitely up there in kind of like my top 20 so far, and I need to sort through those. I haven't read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror yet, but that's by the same author as the previous one, and just by the popularity I would actually guess, if anything, this could hinder the votes, because I feel like the majority of people who are stuck between these two will vote for Ashes of the Star-Cursed King, but that's going to split the votes quite a lot. The Hurricane Wars, I've heard a lot about. It's literally only just come out, I think, like last month. I haven't read it yet, and I don't think I'll get to it. Like, from what I've heard, I'm not prioritising it. I don't know if I've read this one yet. This is the 8th book now. I'm currently on the 7th book of the Zodiac Academy series, I believe. But obviously this is a massive series, and if you've made it this far and it's still getting this sort of rating, that's good. Soul of Ash and Blood I've just read. I was really disappointed by it. Not gonna lie, I was really disappointed. It's nowhere near as good as the rest of the series. I've never heard of this one, Rule of the Aurora King. I've never heard of this one, Adorn of Onyx. I've never heard of this one, A Queen of Thieves and Chaos, but I have heard of the author, K.A. Tucker. I haven't got round to this one, so that's no 3 Jennifer L. Armentrout books that are in this thing. A Court is Cruel and Lovely, haven't heard of, and I've heard of the Jasadair. I'm really hoping I'm saying that right, but I have not got round to it yet, but I have heard really good things. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to be voting for out of the ones here. Probably the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I don't think, essentially before the votes are finalised, I could end up reading that Zodiac Academy one, and I could end up reading A Fire in the Flesh, which is the final book of the prequel trilogy of the current like world that we're in that one. And one of those I could prefer more than Ashes of the Star-Cursed King, but honestly I really enjoyed that book. That's probably going to be the one that I vote for. Let's go fantasy. Okay. So Atalanta I've heard of, haven't read. The new Cassandra Clare book I want to read. I think this is one that I'm waiting for my library to get, to be honest. Is it? Yeah, I'm in a long queue for that one. I'm not going to get to it before this list is done. I've heard about this book, I don't actually know. Okay, it's called Venko. I've heard of it, I don't know anything about it. Inkblood Sister Scribe, I feel like I heard quite a bit about when it first came out, but I don't think I've heard anyone that I follow rating it. I haven't heard of this one. That's interesting. I've heard good things about the unmaking of June Farrow, but I haven't even, like, Adrian Young is an author I want to try, but I have not yet tried any of their books. Last Tale of the Flower Bride, I know, like, you know, got really big. Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies is the first one on this list that I've actually read, and I enjoyed it. Got 4 stars, like, it was a decent book. I feel like I'm very surprised by these lists. The romantasy and the fantasy ones were ones that I really expected to see loads of amazing, like, books in. Like, I've read some of the best fantasy, especially romantasy, this year that I have in years and years and years, and, like, I haven't seen any of the books on here yet, so yeah. Hellbent, heard a lot of good things about it, still haven't read. And I found Clytemnestra, I have heard of, not read. A Day of Fallen Night, I still haven't read the first one. These are intimidating looking books. I own the first one of the series, the Priory of the Orange Tree, but it looks so intimidating. Jessie Emerald Sea, haven't got to yet. Stoneblind, haven't even purchased yet. Witch King, I haven't read any Martha Wells fantasy. I love Martha Wells sci-fi. I really do want to try Witch King, but to be honest, I was probably thinking about it in my head. I just haven't been prioritising it. I probably should prioritise it at some point, because yeah, like, I have had very high hopes for this. The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi, I heard very good things when it came out, but I don't think the hype has continued. I don't know if it's still getting good ratings. I really don't know. Bookshops and Bone Dusty is one I would have liked to have read by now, but I ordered a special edition and I haven't even got the shipping email yet, so I don't think it's going to arrive in the next, like, week when I need it to. But yeah, honestly, I would have read this the day it came out if I'd have just ordered a normal edition, but I wanted a special edition to match my first book, so I did it. But yeah, the book that wouldn't burn, I've heard very good things about, haven't read. Starling House, have not read. The Will of the Many, I have not heard of. And The Fragile Threads of Power, obviously I've heard loads and loads about. And it does say here it's book 1 of a series, but I'm pretty sure you have to read the other trilogy first, which I have not read. So yeah, honestly, I'm disappointed by the fantasy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, that was the one I was expecting loads in, but let's just go sci-fi. Also, I have no idea what's gonna win in that fantasy at all. Like, really couldn't tell you. Okay, System Collapse. This is the new Martha Wells book. This is the, oh wait, no it isn't. Okay, the other one must not have made the cut date wise. I know that there's a Martha Wells book that I thought was coming out in November, but it must be late November. Okay, so this was absolutely, wait, when is this? I'm getting so confused. I'm gonna have to open this up in another tab, because is this the one that's just coming out? Yes, okay, it was published the 14th of November. Okay, so this is the newest one. This is the only one I haven't read, but the rest of them have been amazing. Will I get to it before the voting for this? I really don't know. I'm really realising just how much I haven't got to yet. I mean, it's come out today, like, just, you know, the day I'm filming this, which maybe it'll be the day you see this, if not the day after. This came out today, so it's not surprising I haven't got to it yet, but yeah, I would really like to. I've heard a lot of good things about Chain Gang All Stars, haven't really heard anything about the other two. I've heard about these two, haven't read myself, haven't heard anything about these two. The only one I've heard good things about on this row is Lightbringer, and I haven't heard, I don't think, let me just look at the author. I haven't even heard of these three. I do know I'm not as, like, tuned into the sci-fi space as I am the fantasy space, but I'm surprised there's ones that I've never even heard of on here. I've heard good things about the Jimbot of Shantiport. I'm really hoping I said that right, but I haven't read it yet. Children of Memory is the 3rd book in a series I have not read. Deep Sky, I don't know anything about. The cover looks ridiculously cool though. I I'm also going to open Link in New Tab and look into that one in a bit. Bridge I haven't heard anything about, but I know the author. I don't have any interest in reading that. I've read a dystopian-y type book by this author, and I've also attempted to read a thriller type book from the author, and the author's just not for me, the writing style, so that's unfortunate because, you know, I enjoy reading. I don't know anything about these two, the Land of Milk and Honey and the Ferryman. I actually think I have heard the names of both of them now I'm saying them out loud, but I don't know anything about them. I've heard so many cool things about this one. I really want to read it, I just haven't yet. But that cover alone, like, even if I hate the book, I feel like I'd keep it just for the cover alone, because that's so cool. And then In the Lives of Puppets, of all the ones here, I reckon could be the one to win, because it's a really well-known author and it's like a standalone. You don't need to have read any more. All the other like really well-known ones I've seen are parts of big series, so, you know, like, I'd love to think Martha Wells could win, but this is book 7 in a series. I feel like Pierce Brown definitely could read, but definitely could read, probably could read, as they are also an author, but definitely could win. But this is book 6 of a series, which is one I also have not yet personally started. But yeah, I feel like this one has good hopes just because of the whole series thing. But yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. I don't know if I'll vote in this range yet. I think it really depends how many of these I make it to actually read it beforehand. Let's go horror. I've only read like 2 horrors this year, so I highly doubt there'll be any in this list I have. Okay, I actually didn't know that Rouge was a horror. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard very good things about it. I don't know what... I guess horror is quite broad, isn't it? I think I thought it'd be like speculative, but yeah, okay. I'm not really tuned into the horror space, and that's going to become very obvious because I haven't heard of. I've heard of Vampires of El Norte, have not read. I read The Hacienda this year, which is this author's other book. And it was fine, but it was just fine, so like I'm really not prioritising that one at all. Obviously I've heard of Stephen King, Holly. Like, there's so many other Stephen King books that you need to read to get full context or not be spoiled on this one. Like, I have no interest. Mr. Magic, I've heard weird things about. I don't know if I'm interested in it, honestly. I really don't know. Becoming the Boogeyman I haven't heard of. The September Haze I've heard not great things about. I've heard people being quite disappointed by it. Oh, I've definitely heard of this book, Monstrillo. I think it might have been someone's book club pick. I feel like I've definitely seen it on the internet, but I don't even know people's thoughts and feelings. Black Sheep I've heard of, don't know people's things. Grady Hendrix, obviously a massive one, but no. Oh, Our Share of Night, I've only heard good things of it. This is saying published 2019. I'm guessing it must have had a reprint or republish or something to be included in this list. Haven't heard of this one. I've heard of this one, A House with Good Bones. I've definitely seen the cover of this one. I've seen people talk about it. I don't know if I've seen anyone rate it. Silver Nitrate, obviously massive. And Don't Fear the Reaper, I'm pretty sure it's in a series. Yeah, it's book 2 in a series, so. Out of this, I would say either Silver Nitrate, Our Share of Night, or maybe How to Sell a Haunted House will win, but there could be ones in here that I've only like vaguely heard of that people are absolutely loving, and I have no idea, so I guess we'll wait and see. Right, let's go young adult, fantasy and sci-fi. Okay, so I've heard of A Study in Drowning. I did not realise it was young adult. I thought the premise of this sounded quite interesting, but I did not realise it was young adult. Divine Rivals, I attempted to start just the audiobook for, and I just wasn't caring too much. I will probably try it again at some point. Pretty sure this is in a series. Yeah, book 2 in a series, and I just haven't started anything like that. Never heard of this one. Heard of Foxglove. I now own the first book in this series, but I haven't got round to it yet, so obviously I haven't read the second one. Blood Debts I feel like I've heard of, but I haven't heard anything that's made me like eager to pick it up. House of Roots and Rune I haven't heard of. Sliver in the Bone I've heard a lot of good things about. I've not picked up myself. again, another one I didn't realise was young adult. Spice Raid I've heard of, haven't read. Bring Me Your Midnight, I've definitely seen that cover. I feel like I've seen people haul this, but I don't know if I've seen people like rate it. Powerless is the first book here that I have read. I thought it was a really good debut. I don't know how it stands up to other books that like I've read in these sort of genres. Like for a debut it was good, but there are a lot of things in there that I'm hoping will be improved by the time we get to the second book. Cassandra Clare obviously could win, but this is like, I don't even know how many books you need to read to get to this, but yeah. Oh, our camera battery. Okay, there we go, we're back. Yeah, I don't know how many books you need to read to even get to this one. I've enjoyed the Cassandra Clare books I've read, but I'm nowhere near up to date. Haven't heard of this one. Haven't heard of Delicious Monsters, but that cover is very, very cool. I feel like I've heard of this. Is this part of a series? No, it isn't. Okay. Song of Silver Flame Like Night. It sounds familiar, but I don't know why. Okay, if I had to guess now, I'd say that this one will probably win. A Curse for True Love is the third book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, but everyone's absolutely loving this. I really want to start it. I've read 2 books in the Caravel trilogy and really enjoyed them, so I have high hopes. Haven't heard of this one. I've heard of The Stolen Heir. I've got all the Cruel Prince books in paperback, so until this comes out in paperback, I'm not going to get round to it. Velheart Huntsman, okay. This is the only Chloe Gong book in, like, this is the final Chloe Gong book in this, like, Shanghai universe that's been created. And I've been putting off reading it because it's the last book, which is so stupid and sounds so stupid. I've loved every other book that I've read in this universe and series and, like, absolutely devoured them. But yeah, I have been putting this one off. I've been really putting this one off, so I don't know if I'll get to it in time for voting. I have such high hopes. This is like a 5-star prediction for me, but I haven't read it. And Threads That Bind, I've heard of, don't really know much about. So if I had to guess, I'd say Curse for True Love will probably win, just from what I've heard of the internet. But honestly, I feel like with the amount of books on this list that have had loads of hype this year, any of them, you know, like Study and Draining, Divine Rivals, Powerless maybe, I don't know, could take over. I would love to see the Velheart Huntsman book win, but I'm a massive fan of that series and I haven't prioritised it, so I don't know. I do not know. Will I vote in this one? I mean, right now I think I've only read the one book, so, and I don't think I'd be willing to vote for it, so probably not. Depends how many I read before time for voting ends, I guess. Let's go to young adult fiction. I am going to breeze through this. Immortality, I heard a lot of good things about. Second book in a duology, I don't know. 5 Survive, I'm surprised it's here. I didn't think it would be getting the ratings. I've not heard great things about this one. 9 Liars, I think is part of a really big series. Yeah, it's book 5 in a series, which means like it's doubtful it will win. I mean, I don't know how much this series is backed, but I haven't heard loads about it. Checkmate is Ali Hazelwood's first young adult, which I do think could make a lot of people who normally read adult vote for this book in this section, because they'll have read it because of the author. Same goes for the Talia Hibbert book. Yeah, either of these could actually stand quite a high chance of winning, because they'll have brought in people who don't normally read young adult but have read these books for the genre, not for the genre, for the author. I haven't heard of any of the others except for The Brothers Hawthorne, which is saying it's the Inheritance Games 4. I have committed to reading the Inheritance Games trilogy. I read the first book, I own the third, need to get the second. But it's only meant to be a trilogy. I'm pretty sure this is actually meant to be like book 1 in a separate series, but it is kind of linked. I don't know if people care enough to be reading this. I personally, I mean, I haven't finished the originally set out trilogy yet. I've only read book 1, but right now my thoughts are I don't care enough, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, in this one, truly I feel like it's probably going to go to one of these two. but I'm not really that tuned into the young adult space, especially outside of the fantasy, so maybe there's things that have been absolutely amazing that I know nothing about. Right, let's go to debut novel. What have we got? A lot of things I didn't know were debuts. Okay, we've got meme, I don't know. That one I heard a lot of good things about. Chain Gang All Stars, heard a lot of good things about. Pretty sure we saw both of those in the other categories. Looking for Jane, never heard of. I feel like I've seen the cover for this, but I have zero ideas about anything about it. Haven't heard of. Ink Blood Sister Scribe, I've heard things about, didn't know it was a debut. Yeah, I'm going to open that up to look into more for me. I feel like I've heard about this book, but I have no clue what it's about, and I didn't know it's a debut. I've definitely seen this cover before, but I'm not sure if that's because it's been in a different category or not. Okay, didn't know this one was a debut. It's definitely been picked for a book club. I'm pretty sure it has. So like that would have got a lot of people reading it. Oh, that would be something interesting to look into actually, just the amount of ratings for each of these. Bandit Queens, did not know was a debut. Heard amazing things about. Never heard of. Pineapple Street, I don't think I've ever heard of that either. The Wishing Game, did not know was a debut, and it's been a book of the month pick. I feel like, yeah, if that's getting the ratings, that stands a chance. I feel like I've seen this cover before, don't know anything about it. Don't know anything about this one. September House, did not know was a debut. Again, that's... I don't know how the ratings are coming in for that one. But then there's also Wayward. If I had to pick right now, I would say it is between Wayward, The Wishing Game, and Bandit Queens. Or actually maybe this one. I feel like I'm butchering this name. Ma'am, hopefully one of those is right. And Chain Gang also. I've heard a lot about those this year as well. But yeah, I haven't read any of these. So let's go non-fiction. I feel like I love the Goodreads Awards, but it really makes me realise just how little I am reading of the new stuff. Like, I've read loads this year, I've read absolutely loads. How is so little of it showing up on these lists? Well, because it wasn't released this year. Okay, I'm only going to talk about ones that I've heard of or have read in this section, because like this could... non-fiction is so varied. I am still very surprised it's all in one place. But a backstory I have definitely heard of. I'm pretty sure I've got this on a wish list somewhere. It sounds interesting. It's literally all about the relationships that humans have with their butts, or butts in general. Sounds intriguing. That's the sort of thing that I like a very smallly focused non-fiction. Hey Father Light Reaches, I have heard of. That's it, I've heard of it. I don't know about any of the others. Let's go to memoir and autobiography. The problem with this one is like you're only going to read it if you already like the person. Quickly looking at these, I feel like... Okay, so I haven't heard anything about this Pamela Anderson one, which is very surprising because like this is a very big celebrity. I haven't heard anything. I heard a lot of things about the Britney Spears one. A lot of people seem very happy that she has written this, that the information is out there. I don't think it's the best written from what I've seen. Paris, I've heard, is actually like amazing. Shockingly amazing, I feel like the thing has been coming in, but I don't know how many people are reading it. Like, if you just compare, like, Britney Spears has hardly been out like a couple of weeks and it's got over 100,000 ratings. This one's like below 30,000, so I don't know. Obviously this Prince Harry one was big at the start of the year or whenever it came out. I don't feel like people are caring about it. I really don't think so. And the only other big one here is Page Bush, one I haven't got round to yet. How many ratings? 35? I don't know. I don't want this to come across badly, but I feel like the Britney one is potentially going to win. But maybe like there's ones that are better written and have more to say. on a, you know, about other things. I don't know. I feel like the Brittany one, it's got so many ratings compared to the others, like just looking at the ratings of these. But like, I mean, I haven't read it yet. I don't think I will, to be honest. Like, I don't think I'll personally get anything from it. Actually, how many ratings does Spare have? Okay, Spare has 3 times the amount of the Brittany one. I don't know. I didn't think people were loving it, to be honest. Maybe it's just the internet. Well, that's the crazy thing with Goodreads. Everyone using it. It's not just the people on the bookish spaces on the internet that use Goodreads. It's everyone. So sometimes there's ones that can be way that you've never heard of, but like bookstores or like, I don't know, way that older people get their recommendations, like newspapers, magazines, are really pushing. I don't know, from what I've heard, obviously I've read none of these, which I thought there would be ones here that like I would have read. I do read a couple of biographies, like autobiographies a year. I would hope that either Page Boy or Paris would win based on what I've heard about them, but I feel like it's probably more likely that Brittany or Spare will win. So I guess we'll just wait. We'll wait and see for that one. I won't be voting. I haven't read any, and I'm not going to get to any of these before the voting ends. Best history and biography. I've heard a lot about this one. I feel like it might have been like a Waterstones pick at some point this year. This is The Wager, A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny and Murder. Honestly, I'm just not in this world at all. Like, when I'm in the bookshop, I'll go to like these sort of sections and have a quick scan, see if there's any I like the sound of, read the back of them. I don't really read history books, I'm realising. Like, I don't know. Yeah, there's none on here that I have any say, any knowledge in. Oh. I'd like to think that this wouldn't win, but guess all I know. Yeah, I don't know enough to even speak about any of these. Like, none of these seem that broad. They all seem like very okay. No, this is the entire, like, oh my god, that's only got 500 ratings. I mean, I've never heard of it before now, but like, that's like the history of America. Like, okay, that's not broad. I think the thing with history is it can be focused on like one person or one family, or it can have a broader thing. I would feel like the broader it is, the more readers it could have. I don't know. I don't know enough to say anything about any of this. Let's go to humour. Will I have read any? Probably not. I don't really like humour. That sounds crap, but I don't. Okay. So I'm gonna be reading this any day now. I've heard such amazing things. I expected this to be in the memoir-y autobiography section, but it's in the humour section. I could end up voting for this. I'm surprised it's not in the memoir-y autobiography section. It's in humour, but yeah, I mean, it's a comedian's autobiography, but what do I know? That's how the Goodreads works. I'm really intrigued that this is here. I can't wait to read it. I wish I'd have read it by now. I've had a lot of delivery issues with this one, but my boyfriend's read this one and also thinks it's like amazing and really good, and it's actually our book club selection for October, November, and we'll be doing some sort of video for it there at the start of December. So if you'd like to read it with us, I'll link the book club information up above. But yeah, really intrigued by that one. I've read none of the others and heard none of the others. If I read this one and absolutely love it, give it 5 stars, I'll probably vote for it. If not, I probably won't vote. Like, even if it got 4 stars, I don't think I'd vote for it. If I haven't read all of a section, or like, you know, a large majority of it, I like to do it so I need to have absolutely loved a book and be like backing it and rating it and like, this is 5 stars, amazing, perfection, to vote for it still. If I haven't personally read enough, everyone can do what they want. Like, there's no rules and no regulations, but that's kind of how I see it. So yeah, those were the Goodreads Choice Awards. Those are my initial reactions to the opening round. I'm really intrigued. I'd like to know more. I definitely have lots of potentially romantasy and fantasy recommendations because I'm shocked that I'd read so little of them. And yeah, as always, I'm just shocked of how little I've read and how little I've heard of, but there's so many books coming out a year. I should not be that surprised, but it is always surprising when this comes around. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Please do give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!